Hey everyone, my name is Christian and I'm a mix engineer. Today we're doing a mix breakdown of a song called Prayed Up by Vin J and Cryptic Wisdom. Let's dive in. Okay, so for starters, you gotta love a good producer because, it makes my life a lot easier. Someone in my comments a while back said call out producers, and I'm totally doing that. You're right, I should call out producers that are great because this guy, whoever did this, is awesome. And it just means that you have to just kind of EQ shape and you don't really have to do a whole lot. You just have to make things kind of work together. So if you look at my drums, I don't have a whole lot other than ways to just kind of make them knock harder. We have a kick. Already knocks pretty hard. There's this kind of kick tambo thing that goes on top of it. I just EQ shaped it, which is kind of weird on its own, but together it's pretty cool. Snare on top of that. Again, I always say this, I will say it till the day I die. High pass your snares. Pretty much high pass everything that isn't a kick or bass. That's a total generality, but there's always just like this extra stuff going on in the low end. Here, check this out. You just don't need it. Crash didn't do anything. Here's all of it together. Then to top it off, on my drum bus, you're gonna see this plugin a lot with me. It's one of my favorite limiters. It's because it's so easy and it sounds great. Kind of like this whole multiband thing. I don't ever touch the multiband thing. I just kind of like what it does if it kind of peaks too hard. Just kind of evens everything out and adds glue. All right, let's hop to the bass. Now, there's two bass tracks here. This main one here is super important. This is obviously the main bass. Super subby, cool texture. Use the low latency limiter. Then there's this high bass that has texture. I'll bypass these so you can hear it. Saturated it super hard. Just for texture. And then because it's a bass that's on top of the main bass, I wanted to kind of give it some stereo width. So together that's... super cool bass part. There's a couple of main synths here. Same thought process, just not a whole lot of stuff going on. Pretty straightforward high pass. This kind of upper octave pluck that's on here, I didn't even touch. Here, you'll hear it together. You just don't need to. And then there's these extra stabs. Again, minimal. Stereo with probably the jankiest stereo imager out there, but it works. And my thought process here is that I often do stereo imaging, especially on hip-hop tracks that don't have a ton of stuff going on or aren't super wide. Naturally, hip-hop tracks usually aren't because it's like kick, snare, hat, sample, bass. And so I try to make things kind of artificially stereo because, you kind of just need it. And chances are whoever vocal produces stuff killed it. So there's a lot of vocals on the left and right, but musically, just often in hip hop, there's just not a lot going on. So I kind of force things out, and I don't do the main stuff. I like to do like hats or something that's going to be a little bit less distracting, just to kind of give the feel of wide imagery. Other than that, there's just like gunshots and stuff. Light EQ. I think all of these just have high passes on them. Yeah, just super straightforward. So here's all the music together. Cool. So let's dive into the vocals for a second. This one was kind of interesting because he had sent some layered vox that he really liked. I think those were part of the choruses. And then the verse vox, him and Cryptic were all raw. So that kind of meant doing what I normally do to vocals while also kind of tailoring it to what he had sent me, which isn't totally uncommon. I actually kind of like that because if someone sent me like layered vocals, if they're good, usually don't touch them, like maybe a high pass or something, just like minor EQ stuff. But the artist has spent the time tailoring those to how he likes it with all the effects and stuff. And if someone sends me that, then that means they spent the time to make it great. So listen to these and I'll show you that there's just, my high pass. Here we go.
One by one and it's two by two in a war with thoughts and they will never call truce.
They sound great.
Came through looking like fire, but the boys stay prayed up.
super cool texture stuff, which just meant that I needed to mix my vocals to that, but with the same texture that I would normally kind of give a vocal. I talked about this in previous videos, and I'm going to be a broken record. My thought process pretty much right now, at least right now, always stays the same. It just means that I treat everything different because every mic is different, obviously different voices. So for me, I like to just tailor the thought process that I have with vocals to each different mic. And so we started with an EQ here.
I've been a shell of myself and I can't suppress it. Been lost in revolving thoughts till...
Then my virtual mix rack here. Again, if you haven't seen my other videos, there's an imaginary line right here in my head where it's EQ and compression. I always like to start with an EQ and a compression to kind of help make the vocal feel like it's in the room with me. That gives it an even playing field. If someone sends me a crazy vocal or a perfect vocal, either way, I tailor it to where it just sounds like someone's talking to me, like it's conversational. Because then after that, I can treat it to where I can push the second compressor, I can push the second EQ to give it color, give it life. So that was my first EQ. Here's my first compressor.
I've been a shell of myself and I can't suppress it. Been lost in revolving
Super
thoughts till I'm
low,
automatically
gain
stressing.
reduction.
This pride of mine is a weapon.
Then here's my second EQ. This is where color starts to happen. Whoa, hi, cutie.
Hi,
Hey, I'm doing some filming stuff. Do you want to stay in here while I record?
please.
Okay, you just have to be quiet, okay? Okay, can you close the door? So here's the EQ with color.
I've been a shell of myself and I can't suppress it. Been lost in revolving thoughts till I'm automatically stressing. This pride of mine is a weapon.
And here's my second compressor that I usually like to really slam.
I've been a shell of myself and I can't suppress it. Been lost in revolving thoughts till I'm automatically stressing. This pride of mine is a weapon. Idolized and respected.
And then some saturation.
I've been a shell of myself and I can't suppress it. Been lost in revolving thoughts till I'm automatically stressing. This pride of mine is a weapon. Idolized.
After that is this de-esser. It's the Waves de-esser that works like a charm.
I've been a shell of myself and I can't suppress it. Been lost in revolving thoughts till I'm automatically
Then fresh
stressing.
air.
This pride of mine is a weapon. Idolized and respected. I try to silence it daily while grazing and smith.
So I talked about this before, but I used it a good bit for this song. My parallel smash and my parallel overdrive. You can see there's a hefty amount of gain here. Here's with that on.
I've been a shell of myself and I can't suppress it. Been lost in revolving thoughts till I'm automatically stressing. This pride of mine is a weapon. Idolized and respected.
And then I ended it with Soothe because there was some weird kind of high frequency stuff going on.
I've been a shell of myself and I can't suppress it. Been lost in revolving thoughts till I'm automatically stressing. This pride of mine.
Cool. Now I have two verbs on here. There's this lustrous plates from Slate, and then this R verb, both doing very different things. I'll start with one.
I've been a shell of myself and I can't suppress it. Been lost in revolving thoughts till I'm automatically stressing. This pride of mine is a weapon. Idolized and respected. I try to silence it daily while grazing it.
This R verb thing, I use it pretty often. It's this bedroom preset. Here, let me just drive it so you can hear what it's doing.
I've been a shell of myself and I can't suppress it. Been lost in revolving thoughts till I'm automatically stressing. This pride of mine is a weapon.
It just creates this kind of cool stereo image thing that I really like, but it's not like this super long decay. That's what the first one's for. And as you can see here, I have automation that kind of go through choruses and stuff like that. It just kind of helps things pop.
Idolized and respected. I try to silence it daily while grazing and Smith and Wesson. And it's one by one and it's two by two in a war with thoughts and they will never call truce.
Same thing for Cryptic Wisdom's vocal here. It's all the same thought process. You can see I drived his smash pretty hard, the overdrive a good bit. There's just like other textural stuff here. It's just all kind of the same thought process. Like there's other things here that he sent with effects that I ended up just kind of leaving alone. Maybe just like some saturation. Like on this one, there's some saturation. Light EQ, yeah. Super basic stuff. I gotta say, whoever produced, like vocal produced and produced the song in general, killed it. Absolutely killed it. So here's what I've been experimenting with a lot as of late is mix bus stuff, and more specifically my instrumental and vocal bus. So everything, all my instruments get routed here, all my vocals get routed here, obviously. I'm messing with limiters, and this Slate one, I used to end my whole song with this, but I was just kind of messing around with doing it on this one, just for the instruments and the music. It's doing some light gain stuff. It's really more for glue. And then, but my mix bus, I've been really trying to figure out, like, I feel like, especially with these simple songs, I want to make the mix pop a lot, especially if I'm not doing a whole lot on the front end. I really want those drum transients and the vocals to just like really stand out, bring some width. So oftentimes when I'm mixing, I'm experimenting with new things, and my experiments right now have just been a lot of mix bus stuff. So there's a really light EQ thing that I was trying out, trying to get rid of the subs and emphasize some more of this kind of upper bass kick frequency here. The stereo image, someone brought this to my attention. The SSL stuff's really great, and I really like using a lot of their fusion stuff. It's kind of a bold choice to use the width on the final master, but I don't care. Gold Clip's been my new favorite plugin so far for a lot of mix bus stuff. It just drives the song so hard in a really great way without it sounding too distorted. Little tip here though, if you use this plugin direct and just like throw the instance on, watch out for these two knobs. Those are like the saturation, kind of the drivey buttons. They're automatically on. And so when you throw an instance on, they're on. You have to command click it to turn it off, or else you'll get this crazy saturation stuff if you don't turn on. Just a little tip there. And then finishing it with Pro L2. This transparent style has been really awesome for me lately, kind of bringing down the output so it's not clipping too hard. True peak, oversampling at 4, I feel like it's a healthy number that isn't 16x where it's like driving your computer crazy. And that's it. It's a super straightforward mix. I can't stress it enough. These guys killed it with the production stuff, and I just wanted to dive into this because it's different from the Connor stuff that I'm normally posting, but they also are just really high quality guys that I was really grateful to mix for. And so here's kind of everything together.
Follow my pride, I'm fine, don't do me no favor. Came with the devilish smile, but the boy stayed prayed up.
Well, good God, I can't believe I'm alive. You see me walk through the fire, the pain I pay you no mind. From day to day like I'm fine, I got your vertebrae shaking the way I stay on my...
Anyways, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. I've been posting these videos just to kind of share insights on how I do things. I want to be the first to say that everything I do is not perfect. I'm still a student. I'm still trying to learn, but I'm also not trying to gatekeep how I'm doing things, So appreciate all the love, appreciate all the support. And if you've made it this far, I really appreciate you watching. See you next time.